What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 297. We got Sean Strickland going against Dricus Du Plessis.
I need all the wins, yeah. All that and all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another full card breakdown and prediction video. This week we are breaking down UFC 297. Solid pay-per-view card headlined by Sean Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight championship. We got another title fight on the line as well. Bueno Silva, Raquel Pennington. And then we got Mike Malott, Neil Magny on the pay-per-view. Chris Curtis, Marc-Andre Barriault. And then kicking off the pay-per-view is a really good fight. Movsar Evloev going against Arnold Allen. So it's a card that is going to be in Canada. The last one we had was UFC 289, where I think all 6 Canadians on the card went out there and won. This week, we have 9 Canadians, I believe, on the card, so it should be very interesting to break down. I'm loving this card from a betting perspective. There's a ton of spots sticking out, unlike last week, where I didn't have many bets at all, and the bets I did have did not come through for the most part. Shout out to Waldo Cortez Acosta, decided to do the salsa dance instead of fight last week, but I can assure you there will be no salsa dancing in Canada, so that's why I'm looking forward to this card. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be bringing back the Significant Strike contest for UFC 297, a pay-per-view card. To enter the contest, like, subscribe, and comment down how many significant strikes you think that Sean Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis are going to combine for. Whoever gets closest, $25 the first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that did comment first. So comment down those significant strikes. It's one of those fights where I think it could either be like a really low number or maybe even a high number. We'll see. Depends how the fight plays out. This video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Check out Prize Picks. Use promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. And I'm also going to be getting out a Prize Picks video on Tuesday. And then I'm also going to be getting out some Prize Picks content on the website. I'm doing a new Prize Picks article this year, giving my top 5 Prize Picks plays as well as a Prize Picks entry. And now is still a great time to sign up on DFSbythenumbers.com. There you can get access to all my stats, first notice on all bets, prelim, main card, and Hail Mary parlays, access to Discord and betting alerts, full card breakdown and best bet article, confidence ratings, Prize Picks article, Prize Picks entry, and Dana White's Contender Series content once that comes out. And the yearly membership deal is still going on. If you guys want to sign up for a yearly membership, I will give in a free t-shirt. A couple of you guys did sign up for the year there, and I think I got the majority of your shipping addresses. I'll be sending those out early next week, so be on the lookout for those of you that did sign up for the year there. All right, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it, and we're going to start with the first fight on the card, and it just so happens to be my favorite fight on the card. This is Malcolm Gordon going against Jimmy Flick. We got Malcolm Gordon, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 14-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Jimmy Flick, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 16-7 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and we see that nobody probably should be a favorite here, but there is a favorite, and that is Malcolm Gordon, believe it or not. He opened up -120, he's now -130. Jimmy Flick opened up +100. He's currently +110. I never thought I'd see Malcolm Gordon as a favorite in the UFC, but here we are. This has to be the least durable fight of all time. These guys have, what, a combined 7, 13, 14 losses. 13 of those 14 losses have finished inside the distance. Malcolm Gordon's been finished 7 times, 5 by knockout, 2 by sub. Jimmy Flick's been finished 6 times, all 6 of those coming by knockout. So yeah, both these guys are not durable at all, and it's a flyweight fight. You know, you don't see flyweights getting finished that many times. It just shouldn't happen, but it's happening, and these guys are just not durable whatsoever. So yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody should be favored here, but you know, I go back and I'm watching some of Flick's past fights, you know, prior to the Charles Johnson fight, prior to the Alessandro Costa fight, and I was actually impressed with what I saw. You know, Flick, I didn't think his wrestling was that good, but going back, and his wrestling actually looked a lot better than I expected. He was picking guys up and slamming them, and of course we know Jimmy Flick, his bread and butter is that wrestling. I just kind of worry about the mentality of Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick is a guy that retired. He fought Cody Durden back in 2020. He retired. He said he was done fighting. Took a couple years off. He comes back and he looks terrible against I think it was Charles Johnson. Just had not fought in a while at that point. Gets TKO'd in the first round by Charles Johnson, just a terrible look, and then gets knocked out again by Alessandro Costa the fight after. So yeah, there's big concerns on both sides. Like, this is borderline like 1-800-gambler type fight here. You know, what I think would be very hilarious is if Jimmy Flick went out there and pulled like a Jesus Aguilar, where Jesus Aguilar, when he fought Shannon Ross, had no knockouts. Jimmy Flick has no knockout. It'd be so hilarious if he knocked out Malcolm Gordon, which, hey, it could happen. But in terms of a pick, I'm going Flick here. I mean, I see a lot of people betting Malcolm Gordon. How can you trust this guy's durability? How can you trust both these guys' durability? Give me the dog. Give me the plus money. I am not betting Jimmy Flick, though. What I think is going to happen, though, is I think he will have success with getting fights down to the mat. I think Jimmy Flick's wrestling is good, and he's going against Malcolm Gordon, who literally has a 9% takedown defense. Malcolm Gordon is a black belt, but he's been tapped out a couple times. I think Flick's the better grappler. Give me Flick to go out there and sub Malcolm Gordon in the first round. But, you know, I think there's so many different outcomes in this fight. It's ridiculous. It should be fun. It should be hilarious, but give me Jimmy Flick to go out there and sub Malcolm Gordon. And if he knocks him out, I'm going to laugh very hard. Moving on, we got Jasmine Jasudavicius going against Priscila Cachoeira. We got Jasmine Jasudavicius, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 9-3, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Priscila Cachoeira, she is 35 years old, 5'7", with a 65-inch reach, 12-5, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Priscila Cachoeira, one of my favorite female fighters, if not my favorite female fighter, right behind Liang Na. But she has been a cheater lately. I mean, you know, she's been going out there and cheating like crazy. It all started with the Gillian Robertson fight, where first off she missed weight by like 3 or 4 pounds, and then she was gouging Gillian Robertson's eyes whenever she was getting choked, so that wasn't a good look. And then in her last fight against Miranda Maverick, I mean, she had probably set a record of cheating in that fight. She was grabbing the cage, toes in the cage, fingers in the eyes, fingers in the shirt, fingers everywhere for Priscila Cachoeira. But she did make weight, though. She did make weight, but still, so much cheating going on with Priscila Cachoeira, hence the nickname there. But, you know, I don't think she's going to be able to cheat her way out of this one here. It's a tough matchup, hence the line. Jasmine Jasudavicius opened up a pretty big -400 favorite. She's currently that -400 favorite. Cachoeira opened up +330, currently +300. And yeah, I mean, if I was a matchmaker, which I'm not, but if I was a matchmaker, I would match up Priscila Cachoeira with another striker. I mean, every time she fights another striker, you're in for a very exciting, very fun fight. But you give her a wrestler, a grappler, you know, she's going to lose that fight, and it's really not going to be competitive as long as, you know, the other opponent's gas tank holds up, unlike Gina Mazzani's did. So yeah, Jasmine Jasudavicius, very physically strong. Wrestling's her base. She should have no problem taking down Priscila Cachoeira. And once Priscila Cachoeira is off her back, she's a fish out of water. She can't get up. So yeah, I mean, on the feet, obviously Priscila Cachoeira has power, but Jasmine has a great chin, as does Cachoeira. Both these fighters have great durability. It's just Jasmine has a clear path to victory, getting the fight down to the mat, and that's why she's -400. So give me Jasmine Jasudavicius to win this fight. I'll take her to win this fight by decision. Moving on, we got Yohan Lainesse going against Sam Patterson. We got Yohan Lainesse, who is 31 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach, 9-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Sam Patterson, 27 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach, 10-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We see that Yohan Lainesse opened up -125, currently -145. Sam Patterson opened up +105, currently +125. And yeah, this is my personal 1-800-gambler fight of the week, because I'm not sold on either of these guys, and there's things that I don't like with both these guys. We'll start with Yohan Lainesse. The thing I don't like with Yohan Lainesse is the fact that he's completely changed up his style from, you know, how this dude used to fight. This guy, Lainesse, used to go out there trying to take dudes' heads off, and he had a lot of success doing that. That's what got him to the UFC, going out there and styling on guys and knocking them out early. If he doesn't knock you out early, he's probably going to gas out, but, you know, he has a ton of power, and he can definitely get you out of there, right? But it's ever since he got to the UFC, he's been a lot... He's changed up his style. Like, he's not fighting how he used to. He's going out there. He's being very conservative. He's very gun-shy. He went out there against Gabe Green, was low volume first and foremost, but Went out there and had success. You know, he knocked down Gabe Green in that second round, gassed out, got finished. And then after that fight, he went out there against Darian Weeks, and it put up one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a win. I mean, he went out there, he pulled a William Knight, he landed 10 strikes in the last 10 minutes of the fight, and the crooked, corrupt, blind judges actually gave him the win. I mean, that's incredible, you know? That's incredible. He landed 10 strikes in the last 2 rounds, was outstruck clearly in both those rounds, and somehow, magically, won the fight. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a trash performance, but he went out there and won the fight. And then he fights his buddy, Mike Malott, goes out there and lands 1 strike. 1 strike. And I know the fight ended in the first round, but still, the fight was at distance for like 3 minutes, and he lands 1 strike. So Yohan Lainesse seems like he's scared to gas out. He's scared to throw anything at this point. Like, his volume, his last 2 fights has been just atrocious. This guy, throughout 4 fights between UFC and Contender Series, he's landing only 2.34 strikes per minute. So I don't like that. I would like the old Lainesse to show up and try to knock out Sam Patterson. So on the Sam Patterson side, he's 6'3". He's making his debut here at welterweight. Got knocked out brutally in his first fight in the UFC. Probably one of the more brutal knockouts losses of last year. Is kind of tough to watch. But yeah, 6'3", and this guy has the definition of tall man's defense. I mean, you look up tall man's defense in the dictionary, a picture of Sam Patterson just shows up, because this guy is extremely hittable. I really question the chin. I believe he's been knocked out in both of his losses as well. So in theory, Yohan Lainesse could very well knock out Sam Patterson. Yohan Lainesse has crazy power, but to knock somebody out, you got to throw something, right? Sam Patterson could win this fight just by doing something, you know? So we'll see if Yohan Lainesse actually shows up. If he does, I think he sparks Sam Patterson in the first round. But if he does not show up, if he tries to fight conservatively, if he's gun shy, Sam Patterson probably wins and drowns Lainesse down the stretch. So in terms of making a pick, I wish I could pick both guys to lose. Like, I could potentially pick like a no contest here, but you got to make a pick. I'm going to take Lainesse. I'm going to watch some interviews this week. I want to hear that he's going to go out there and actually fight this time, because if he actually goes out there and fights, he knocks Patterson out, in my opinion. I think Lainesse is talented, man. I love his takedown defense. I love the power. It's just, I don't know. He just looks off. He looks off lately. So I'll take him. Hate the pick for sure, but I'll take Lainesse to knock out Sam Patterson in the very first round. All right, moving on to the next fight. We have Gillian Robertson going against Polyana Viana. We got Gillian Robertson, 28 years old, 5'5", with a 63-inch reach, 12-8 and 3-2. In her last 5 fights, Polyana Viana, 31 years old, 5'5", with a 67-inch reach, 13-6 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Sorry, that glare is bothering me. It's so sunny, and so cold as well. But I'll work through it. So we got Gillian Robertson, who is opened up -160. She's currently -225. We got Polyana Viana. She opened up as a +140 underdog. She is currently +190. And yeah, at first I saw the line. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Gillian Robertson -230 against really anybody. Nothing you really like to see there. But the more I looked into the matchup, the more I think that it's a great fight for Gillian Robertson here. Polyana Viana is a fighter that hates winning minutes. She's never won a decision, and quite frankly, she probably never will, and that's not changing here. Polyana Viana is very content to play off her back to her detriment. I mean, there's been fights where she's even pulling guard at times. Her takedown defense is not good. I was surprised to see on paper her takedown defense is 43%. I was literally expecting that to be closer to 0 because she does not stuff takedown. She's content to play off her back, and that is not what you want to do against Gillian Robertson. Gillian Robertson fought the majority of her career at flyweight, but since coming down to strawweight, she had that great performance against Piera Rodriguez. Tough matchup against Tabitha Ricci, and she's had some tough matchups in general. Losing to Tabitha Ricci, no shame in that. JJ Aldrich is a tough fight. Miranda Maverick is a tough fight. Taila Santos, Macy Barber, all these fighters are very physically strong fighters with great takedown defense. Lost to Mauro Bueno Silva, who's about to fight for the title. So I just don't think Polyana Viana fits that mold in terms of very physically strong, great takedown defense type of fighter. I think her takedown defense is it's non-existent. It's not there. So Robertson should be able to get on top, and when she does, she's nasty on top. She has good ground and pound, incredible submission game. Although Viana's a black belt, she's been tapped out twice. Got tapped out in her last fight against Lucendo. And what the heck's going to happen if Gillian Robertson gets on top here, which she should. So I think Viana, her path to victory is probably a knockout here. We've seen Gillian Robertson knocked out on the feet before. And Viana does crack hard, but, once Gillian Robertson tries to get this fight down to the mat, she will get this fight down to the mat. And when she does, I think she styles on Viana. So I'm going to take Gillian Robertson to win this fight. I'll take her to win this fight by second round submission, and this glare's pissing me off. But it is what it is. All right, Gillian Robertson, second round sub. Moving on to the next fight, we have a rematch. We got Sidey going against Ramon Taveras. We got Sidey, who is 27 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 10-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Ramon Taveras, he's 30 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 9-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We have Sidey opening up -205, currently -160. Ramon Taveras opening up +175, currently +140. Really love this fight. I'm glad they made the rematch. If you guys go back and watch this fight, don't go back and look at Tapology and see, Sidey knocked him out in the first round. It was the worst stoppage I've ever seen. We've seen some terrible stoppages, but this was probably the worst I've ever seen, at least on the Contender Series. I mean, Sidey drops Taveras, sits him down, and as soon as he sits him down, the ref steps in. Taveras is, clearly there. Sidey, I don't think it landed any follow-up shot. I mean, the ref just stopped the fight for literally no reason outside of Sidey dropping him, but still, I mean, it was a terrible stoppage, and I'm glad they're doing the rematch here because that fight was fun up until the finish. It was competitive, back and forth. Both guys landed 11 strikes apiece, and since then, Sidey is going to be making his debut here, but since then, Taveras actually got another shot on the Contender Series, and he fought that Are You Not Entertained Romeo's guy, and he went out there and dropped him 3 times. Officially, I think it says 1, but he sat him down 3 times and then knocked him out. And that's the big thing with Taveras. This guy has incredible power for the bantamweight division. You go look at his Instagram, he says on there he's like a 9-2 knockout or knockdown ratio. I think it could be even more than that. I mean, go watch any of this guy's fights. He's going out there and sitting guys down like it's his job. Got, like I said, 3 knockdowns in his last fight. They only counted 1, but he dropped Romeus 3 times within the span of like 60 seconds. This guy's power is no joke. This guy's boxing is no joke. The hand speed. I guess the question mark with Taveras would potentially be the takedown defense, the ground game. I thought that Sidey might be able to, wrestle a little bit. That wasn't really the case in their fight. Of course, it only played out for like half a round, but Sidey didn't really try for takedowns, maybe 1, but Taveras stuffed it pretty easily there. So yeah, I think this fight primarily does play out in the feet, and this line doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I mean, I think this is a super competitive fight. Both guys are very good. I like both guys here. Both these guys are tested. Like, we've had some, guys from the Contender Series make their debuts lately, like a Zach Reese, like a Tom Nolan that fought last week. I mean, these guys, great record, just not tested. Like, Sidey's fought some solid competition outside the UFC. Taveras has fought some solid competition outside the UFC. Both these guys are tested. Both these guys are ready. Both these guys are good. Both these guys are well matched as well. Give me the dog here in Taveras. All rematches do not play out the same, as we know. I love the boxing, the hand speed, and the power of Taveras. I think this guy has legit power for the bantamweight division, and I think he flips the script here. I think he's the one that knocks out Sidey this time around. And yeah, give me Taveras. Give me Taveras by first round knockout here. Should be an absolute banger. These guys are going to stand and bang, I think. All right, moving on. Speaking of banger, we got a Charles Jourdain fight here. We got Charles Jourdain going against Sean Woodson. We got Charles Jourdain, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach, 15-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Sean Woodson, 31 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach, 10-1-1, and 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. So the odds here, we got Charles Jourdain opening up -135, currently -175. Sean Woodson opening up as a +115 underdog. He's currently +150. And so I was looking through Charles Jourdain's career, right? I was looking through his losses, and there's a solid sample size of him. This guy has 6 losses, and I'm looking through his losses, and like there's one common theme. And all of these losses, he's getting taken down more than once, right? Nathaniel Wood, takes him down 5 times. Shane Burgos takes him down 2 times, and Shane Burgos actually had a lot of success controlling Jourdain there. But Charles Jourdain outlanded Burgos 113-42. And then against Julian Erosa, Julian Erosa took him down 2 times. Against Andre Fili took him down 5 times, and then Desmond Green took him down 4 times. And every single loss in the UFC, he's been taken down twice. And now he's fighting Sean Woodson, a boxer who is not taking down Charles Jourdain, and if he does, he's getting subbed. And that's kind of what's been happening. A lot of Charles Jourdain fights lately, right? Guys are taking him down, and Charles Jourdain subbing them. He went out there and submitted Ricardo Ramos in the first round. Ricardo Ramos, black belt in BJJ. Like that's incredible. He submitted Lando Venata with a guillotine choke in the first round. So, yeah, if Sean Woodson wants to take down Jourdain, he will be able to. But like I said, he's probably getting subbed. So I do think this fight primarily does play out on the feet. And for the Sean Woodson side, we can't ignore the fact that he has a 5-inch height advantage and he has a 9-inch reach advantage. None of that can be ignored. But Charles Jourdain is not going to, stick on the outside and point fight with Sean Woodson for 15 minutes. He's going to close the distance. He's going to pressure. And I feel like this fight could look a lot like the Sean Woodson-Julian Erosa fight where, Sean Woodson was having some success early on, but Julian Erosa just came forward the entire time, just nonstop, came forward. Nothing that Sean Woodson was throwing was affecting Julian Erosa. Sean Woodson doesn't have much power. So, yeah, he kind of disrespected Sean Woodson. Came after him the entire time, broke him a little bit, got him out of there in the 3rd round. That's his only loss, Sean Woodson, was that Julian Erosa fight. And I feel like Charles Jourdain can kind of implement that same style where it's just nonstop coming forward, showing Sean Woodson no respect. I mean, all the power is in favor of Charles Jourdain. All the grappling ability is in favor of Charles Jourdain. So I just feel like there's a lot of ways for Charles Jourdain to win this fight, whereas with Sean Woodson, for him to win this fight, it's got to be a clean 15-minute fight at range, use that reach. And don't get me wrong, Sean Woodson's an incredible fighter. Incredible attributes, 6'2", 78-inch reach at featherweight makes no sense, but I feel like it's just a kind of a bad matchup for him, especially in Canada. I think Charles Jourdain's going to bring it nonstop, and I see him breaking Sean Woodson down the stretch. Give me Charles Jourdain to win this fight, and win this fight by 3rd round submission. I think he breaks down Sean Woodson and gets him out of there late. Charles Jourdain, 3rd round, is a mythical creature. This guy, I don't know what happens with Charles. Like a flip switches in Charles Jourdain's head once that 3rd round starts, and I think he can break Woodson down the stretch there. All right, next we got Brad Katona going against Garrett Armfield. We got Brad Katona, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 64.5-inch reach. We got 13-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights is Brad Katona. Garrett Armfield, 27 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach, 9-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. Brad Katona opened up -155, currently -175. Garrett Armfield opened up +135. He is currently +150. So it's interesting with Brad Katona. Brad Katona had probably one of my personal favorite fights of the year. I mean, that fight with Cody Gibson, I think it was on UFC 292, the Sean O'Malley card. That fight was incredible. I had no action on that fight, but I enjoyed every second of it. Brad Katona went out there and, I'm not trying to be mean, but that was probably his first fun fight ever from Brad Katona. And don't get me wrong, Brad Katona's an incredible fighter. I think he's so underrated. He's really good. He's fought really good competition. He's beat really good guys, right? But he's not the most exciting fighter, right? He's not the most exciting fighter out there. He has incredible fight IQ. He's going to go out there. He's going to fight smart, fight to his best abilities, fight to the best game plan, and win fights, which is good. I mean, you should do that. But in his last fight against Cody Gibson, he kind of threw all that out of the window because I thought he might try to wrestle Cody Gibson. But no, he went out there and stood and banged with Cody Gibson for 3 rounds and showed a ton of heart, a ton of toughness, great striking, some power as well. I mean, Brad Katona looked great. With that said, though, I think, Brad Katona is going to come back to earth a little bit in a sense of this fight's probably not going to be exciting, and he's probably going to take the path of least resistance, which is going to be to wrestle here. Garrett Armfield, I like this guy a lot. I like this guy striking. He has a ton of power, got a nice knockout win in his last fight, but there is a hole in the game of Garrett Armfield, and that is the takedown defense, and that is the ground game. All 3 of his losses are due to him getting taken down and either subbed or controlled. But yeah, 2 losses by submission for Garrett Armfield there. So yeah, Brad Katona is not an idiot. he's not going to go out there and have a fight of the night type war with Garrett Armfield. You wouldn't think. And if he does go out there and fight smart, this is a great matchup for Katona. Katona's beat guys, no offense, better than Garrett Armfield, who, like I said, I like, but Katona's went out there and he's beat guys like Kyler Phillips, and he has some other really great wins outside the UFC as well. He had a great win. Bryce Mitchell. He beat Bryce Mitchell, and then his losses were against Maram Davalishvili. I mean, come on, no shame in that. And then another tough stylistic matchup for him was Hunter Azure, who's a really good wrestler. Garrett Armfield, I don't think he's going to be able to stuff takedowns here. So it should be a pretty clean Katona win here as long as he fights smart. I think he does, and I think he gets it done by decision. All right. Moving on to the next fight, we got the main card opener, probably like the most high-level fight on the card, to be honest, and it's one I'm really looking forward to. We got Movsar Evloev going against Arnold Allen. We have Movsar Evloev, who is 29 years old, 5'7" with a 72.5-inch reach, 17-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Arnold Allen, 29 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach, 19-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Movsar Evloev opening up -170 currently. How did I mess this one up? How did I get -350? So Movsar Evloev is currently -180, and Arnold Allen is currently +1. Was I fried when I put these in? My gosh, sometimes I make silly mistakes, and this is one of them. So he's -180. Arnold Allen's around -150, -155. So yeah, really good fight here. I don't know. I think Arnold Allen is an incredible fighter. Both these guys are. It's hard not to like both these guys, but I feel like stylistically it's a little bit of a tough matchup for Arnold Allen. We have seen Arnold Allen go out there and have a ton of success throughout his entire UFC career. His only UFC loss was against Max Holloway, which was a tough fight there. But prior to that, beating Calvin Kattar, Dan Hooker, Sadiq Youssef, guys like that. Those are some pretty good wins there. But he hasn't really fought any wrestlers lately. I mean, he fought Nick Lentz, who's a grappler. I don't think Nick Lentz really, had any success there. But there was a fight against Mads Burnell back in the day where Burnell took him down 6 times. Arnold Allen was on his way to losing that fight. Burnell took him down, I think, 6-12. Burnell was. And there was another fight with Makwan Marcani back in the day, 2017, where Makwan was able to take him down a couple times, get him some bad spots. So there are some fights where he is getting taken down, but these fights were a very long time ago, and obviously Allen has improved immensely since then, you got to believe, right? But he's going against Movsar Evloev, who, like I said, this guy's incredible. This guy's landing almost 5 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's undefeated, 17-0. And for a guy to beat Movsar Evloev, I think it's going to take a guy with great takedown defense first and foremost, and a guy with really good striking, like a Max Holloway, right? But Arnold Allen, his takedown defense is good. I just don't think it's great. I don't think it's great enough to stuff every takedown coming his way, because he's going to have to stuff so many takedowns here. This is probably Allen's toughest matchup. This is Allen's toughest matchup outside of of course, the Max Holloway fight his last time. But yeah, Movsar Evloev, even on the feet, like Allen's the better striker. I love Allen's striking. He has underrated power, but he's just so low volume. Arnold Allen landing only 3.34 significant strikes per minute. Movsar Evloev about 4.5, and so I think on the feet the volume can be competitive. And as long as Evloev's shin holds up, I think he'll have no problem taking down Arnold Allen here, controlling him a little bit en route to a decision win here. So outside of like an Allen knockout, which I don't know, I don't really see it. I think Evloev should win this fight pretty comfortably, like a 30-27, 29-28 type win here for Evloev. So yeah, give me Evloev to win this fight. Give me Evloev to win this fight by decision. Moving on, we got Chris Curtis going against Marc-Andre Barriault. We got Chris Curtis, 35 years old, or 36 years old, 5'10" with a 75.5-inch reach, 30-10. And 2-2 and 1 no contest in his last 5 fights. Marc-Andre Barriault, 33 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach, 16-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Chris Curtis is a favorite. He opened up minus 160. He's currently minus 180. Marc-Andre Barriault opened at plus 140, and he's currently plus 155. So, yeah, these odds make zero sense to me at all. So Chris Curtis is a guy that a lot of people used to love. People loved Chris Curtis. It seems like a lot of people hate him now after that Jack Hermansson situation where he was kind of flipping him off. And then there was also, I think, the Gastelum loss. We went on Twitter and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And then there was the no contest with Imavov, a fight where he was clearly losing, on his way to losing. A lot of people were betting on Imavov. So yeah, a lot of people went from loving Chris Curtis to he's one of the most hated fighters, it seems like. But he's a great fighter. He's a great striker. What I love most about Chris Curtis is that takedown defense. It's incredible. Probably some of the best takedown defense in the division, honestly, sitting at 92%. So yeah, he's a guy that's going to always dictate where the fight takes place, which is on the feet, of course. Chris Curtis shooting 0 takedowns in the UFC. So yeah, I think this is a striker versus striker matchup, and I think it's close. I mean, like I said, I don't get the line, minus 180. Chris Curtis drops the first round like it's his job. He's a very, very slow starter. He takes a lot of time to kind of get going, and I guess you could kind of say the same thing about Marc-Andre Barriault to a lesser extent. Barriault's a guy that does get better as the fight goes on as well. But yeah, Chris Curtis is losing a lot of these striking exchange. Even in fights he's winning, he's getting outlanded. Was getting outlanded 57-26 against Nasruddin Imavov on his way to lose. Like I said, he got outlanded 83-70 against Calvin Gastelum. Outlanded 50-36 against Joaquin Buckley in a fight that he won. He got the knockout. Was outlanded 100-43 against Jack Hermansson. So he's outlanded in his last 4 fights. He did outland Rodolfo Vieira, a grappler, and then he did outland Brendan Allen, but he was also outlanded by Phil Hawes, 48-21 in his debut, up until him getting the knockout. So I could see a situation where the volume is either extremely competitive, or Marc-Andre Barriault probably honestly outlands Chris Curtis in terms of those numbers. Marc-Andre Barriault's volume's incredible, landing 6 significant strikes per minute compared to Curtis's 5.36, but Curtis is absorbing 6.3 significant strikes per minute. So I just think it's a close fight. I think this fight goes to decision. I don't see either guy knocking either guy out. We are in Canada, so even if Marc-Andre Barriault loses, I mean, the judges probably give it to him, right? The crowd is going to be reacting to everything that Marc-Andre Barriault lands or throws. So in a super close fight that I think is very close, give me the dog here, Marc-Andre Barriault. I do not get this line whatsoever. Maybe Curtis goes out there and knocks out Marc-Andre Barriault, but Barriault's only been knocked out once in 22 fights. And it was against Sidey and Jaquani. So I'm taking the upset here. Give me Marc-Andre Barriault to get it done by split decision. Moving on, we have a very fun fight here. Mike Malott going against Neil Magny. We got Mike Malott, 32 years old, 6'1", with a 73-inch reach, 10-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Neil Magny, 36 years old, 6'3", with an 80-inch reach, 28-11 and 2-3. In his last 5 fights, we have Mike Malott is the second biggest favorite on the card right now, opening up minus 300, currently minus 350. Neil Magny opening up plus 250, currently plus 285. I think by the time fight time, Mike Malott's probably going to be the biggest favorite on the card, surpassing Jasmine Jasudavicius, because Neil Magny has 39 fights, a lot of those being in the UFC. He's fought really good competition, but he's 36 years old at this point. He's taken a lot of damage. He's been finished 8 times, and he's going against honestly, a really good fighter, Mike Malott. Mike Malott's a problem, I think. The reason I think he's a problem is because he's dangerous everywhere. Wherever this fight takes place, Neil Magny is going to be in serious trouble. Whether it's on the feet, where Mike Malott has a ton of power. I mean, Ian Gary dropped Neil Magny with the very first leg kick he threw. I think Neil Magny's looking a lot more fragile in there as of late. A guy that used to be tough and durable, looking fragile in there. I thought Ian Gary could have finished Neil Magny on 70 different occasions. Decided not to do it, but Mike Malott is a finisher. Mike Malott has a 100% finish rate. All of those wins coming under 1.5 rounds. 9 of those wins coming in the first round. So yeah, on the feet, I think he has power to drop and hurt Neil Magny. But I think the most likely scenario here is Mike Malott getting a takedown, and once he gets on top, he's going to style on Neil Magny, who's been submitted 6 times. It's Mike Malott's grappling is incredible. This guy's a legit black belt, super dangerous. The majority of his wins do come by submission. I think he gets Magny down here in the first and taps him out rather quickly. Magny's been tapped out just so many times. He loves getting tapped out. I think another one comes here. So yeah, terrible match for Neil Magny. and we see what the UFC's doing, right? Like, this is a clear setup fight. We are in Canada. Mike Malott is probably right now the prospect that, you know, Canadians' best prospect right here in Mike Malott. Everybody's excited about this guy, and rightfully so. 100% finish rate, all of his wins coming early. Why not? And they're giving him a guy, Neil Magny, with a big name. You know, I don't think Magny's in his prime or anything like that, but still a big name in Neil Magny, and I think he gets past him here. Give me Mike Malott to win this fight by first round sub. All right, next we got Mario Bueno Silva going against Raquel Pennington. Bantamweight vacant title on the line. We got Silva, who is 32 years old, 5'6", with a 66.5-inch reach, 10-2, and 3-1-1 no contest in her last 5 fights. Raquel Pennington, 35 years old, 5'7", with a 67.5-inch reach, 15-8, and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Silva opened up -155, -160 currently. Pennington opened up +135, currently +140. So I've been watching UFC for a very long time. I want to say since I was like in the 8th grade. That was a long time ago. So I've been watching since I was in the 8th grade, on and off. This is probably the title fight I'm least looking forward to, with every other title fight in mind. Like, this is the least excited I've ever been for a title fight since I've started watching UFC a very long time ago. I mean, this is I don't know. I mean, this is rough, man. I mean, I'm not a big fan of either of these fighters, especially Pennington. But yeah, Silva, at least she goes out there. I don't really get Mario Bueno Silva's game, to be honest. She's an incredible grappler. Like, that's her bread and butter. Her submission game is top notch. When she wins fights, it's typically by submission. I'm looking through her UFC record. Submitted Lena Landsberg, submitted Stephanie Ager, submitted Mara Morella-Barella, submitted Gillian Robertson, submitted somebody on the Contender Series as well. All but one of her wins come by submission. So she's a submission artist who shoots 0 takedowns. I mean, there was a stretch where there was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in a row where Mario Bueno Silva attempted 0 takedowns. She completed 0 takedowns in that 8-fight stretch. She finally got a takedown in the Lena Landsberg fight 2 fights ago, and what did she do? She styled on Landsberg. She submitted her with a knee bar. I would like to see Bueno Silva try to get fights down to the mat, but that's just not her style. Silva's style is going to be coming forward, nonstop pressure, and she's going to try to break you. She's dangerous wherever the fight goes. She has power on the feet. She's super tough, super durable, and if the fight hits the mat, she's subbing you. But like I said, I would like to see her go for takedowns here. I don't know, 25 minutes to work here. I just feel like this fight does hit the mat at some point, whether it's Silva, God forbid, goes for a takedown, or whether maybe Pennington goes for a takedown, whether Silva pulls guard, whether this fight hits the mat one way or another. I think it does at some point, and when it does, it should be Mario Bueno Silva's world. On the feet, I do think it's fairly close and competitive. I do like the forward pressure, the volume of Mario Bueno Silva, but striking should be close. Interesting to see the clinch battle as well. Pennington, very good in the clinch, but as is Mario Bueno Silva. She does a lot of damage there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be looking like a very close fight up until this fight does hit the mat. And when it does, I think Silva gets a submission win. She has plenty of them. So give me Silva to win this fight, and I guess she's going to become bantamweight champion of the world. My gosh. Moving on, we have the moment everybody's ever been waiting for, or always... Can't talk today. The moment everybody's been waiting for. Sean Strickland going against Dricus Du Plessis. Incredible main event here. Middleweight title fight on the line. Sean Strickland, 32 years old, 6'1", 76-inch reach, 28-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Dricus Du Plessis, 30 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach, 20-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. By the way, guys, don't forget to comment down those combined significant strikes here. Sean Strickland opened up -190, currently -140. Dricus opened up +165, currently +120. Very close fight here, I think. A fight that, I don't know, I can see this fight playing out a couple different ways. I did do a main event deep dive, breaking it down a little bit more, but what I think is going to happen here is I think this fight's going to be a car crash, right? You look at Dricus Du Plessis, 22 fights, 22 car crashes, 22 fun and exciting fights. Dricus has never been in a boring fight. It's never happened, never will happen. Sean Strickland wants to do one thing, right? And that one thing is come forward. He wants to pressure. But, unlike Adesanya, who just backed up the entire time, Dricus is going to probably meet him in the middle here. I think these guys are going to throw down. I think it's going to be a car crash, like I said. And the thing with Sean Strickland is he doesn't have a ton of power. I know he knocked out Abus Magomedov. He knocked out Brendan Allen, but outside of that, he's not really knocking guys out. He's going to decision. This fight's not going to decision, in my opinion. I think it's Dricus early or Strickland late, but Dricus is going to have a lot of opportunities. He's one of those guys that can be losing every single second of the fight, and then he lands one big shot that changes the fight. Dricus has power. Sean Strickland doesn't. So in a fight that I do think is going to be chaos, I'm going to take the guy that thrives in that situation, and that's Dricus. I'm going to say he lands a big shot here and finishes Sean Strickland in the first or second round. So yeah, I do like Dricus here. I do worry, though, if it gets extended. Third, fourth, fifth round. We've never seen Dricus in a fourth round. We've never seen him in a fifth round. He has 2 losses. Both those do come in the third. But, I just think Dricus is going to land a big shot at some point early on and get get Strickland out of there. What he did to Whitaker was incredible. I mean, that Whitaker win is no joke. You could poke holes in his other wins, like Brad Taveras. It is what it is. Some of his other wins, Marcus Perez. I mean, some of these other wins aren't great. Officer Trevin Giles. You can poke holes in those wins, but you cannot poke a hole in that Whitaker win. I mean, just not only beating Robert Whitaker, but doing what he did to Whitaker. Almost like TKOing him in the first round, brutal ground and pound, cut Rob up, and then just knocking out Robert Whitaker in the second round. I mean, that win's no joke. And I think he gets the title here. So I'm going Dricus. I'm going Dricus by first or second round knockout. I think he lands something big and changes the trajectory of the fight. I could see a club and sub potentially as well. So yeah, I like Dricus here. I think he finishes Sean Strickland early on. There you guys have it. Thank you for watching. If you guys could, leave a like on your way out. Subscribe as well. And also comment down your significant strikes. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I will be dropping some bets pretty shortly here. A lot of spots sticking out this week. Also, be sure to check out Prize Picks. Use promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. And I'll be getting out a Prize Picks video on Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, best of luck for UFC 297. Great card, great betting opportunities ahead of this card as well. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys very soon. See ya.